Hi guys, this is Banjo, and today I will be bringing to you guys a yellow Attack on Titan deck profile. Level 0 wise, there's more of other colors than yellow, but the rest of the cards are yellow. It's more of a fun deck than anything, but yeah, onto the cards. The first card I run is 4 of the 0/0 yellow Annies. Its ability is if the number of other cards in your stock is 2 or less, this card gains 1500 power. So as long as your stock is 2 or less, this card gains a 1500 power boost. So as long as it's 2, if you brainstorm and pay for certain level 0 abilities, you can keep your stock at 2 if you really want. But if you play this first turn and then attack with it, obviously you're gonna have one stock and it's gonna be a 4K wall. So this is really good. If you go first, or if you have a lot of stock manipulation, just pay, and then this will be a 4K beater, and you can probably get over most of your opponent level 0s unless they're walls or they become bigger than you do. But 4 of her, really good. Next card I run is 2 of the 0/0 yellow Suicider for this thing. So its first ability is when this card is and it's Aaron. He's angry. His first ability is when this card direct attacks. So if there's like nothing in front of it, you can choose one of your other characters, and that character gains 1500 power. And then the ability when this card becomes reversed, if whatever battling is a level 0, you can, instead of reversing it, you send it to the stock, and then you send the bottom card of your opponent's stock into the waiting room. So basically this allows you to screw over your opponent because they can't play Encore for their thing. So you basically suicide them and then throw them into the stock, and then they essentially throw one out, so it cycles out. Really good, especially like early game if your opponent has any empty slots, if they didn't play any characters. You can just pay, attack an empty slot and then give this like 1/5, and then if your stock is low, then she'll be huge. She's a 5/5 beater thing. Really good card. Next card I run is just 1 of this Erin pay 1 to move thing. Basically it's a 0/0 yellow ability, pay 1. At the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you can pay 1 to move. It's more for like level 1 stock removal. If you get like a bunch of climaxes stuck in there, you can have the ability of like paying 1 and then moving it around to an empty slot, is it? Yeah, to an open spot. So pretty good, especially if you get stuff in your stock, and then it's a good stock payout. So then your Annie would be like at its 4K boost thing, but just 1 of him, just for field presence more than anything. The next card I run is 4 of this dirty Aaron. Look, he's so dirty, even though he has like 2 scratches on his face. I play 4 0/0 yellow. Its ability is it can't side attack, but it has 3500 power. So it's just a beater, because basically with the Annies and stuff, your level 0 game is just beat down, and that's about it. There's nothing bad with it. If you have it global boosted, it can be a 4/5 beater, just beating down your opponents. It's basically a beater. It just level 0 game with this deck, you just build stock and like beat down stuff. The next 0 I run is 2 of the red Mikasa 0/0 brainstormer thing. So its brainstorm ability is just pay 1, you don't have to rest or anything, and you mill the top 4, and then for any climaxes you get, you can basically look into your waiting room and add a character with corpse in its ability, and then discard a card. So you basically cycle out your hand and you salvage. But it also has the ability that during the attack phase, when one of your characters moves to another stage or another slot in stage, that character gains 1K power. So sometimes you'll have this brainstormer in the back, and I'll show you next level cards that like move around and stuff. So basically, if you have this in the back, you don't have any boosters, you can potentially give that card 1K when it moves around. But 2, it's a brainstormer. Next card I run is 3 of the 0/0 green Levy sitting down on the chair. Pretty good card. It has the ability, the global 500 ability to all corpse characters, so you just leave it in the back. If you have two of them, you're basically giving everything global 1k. And its other ability is when this card is placed on stage from hand, you can choose one of your opponent's character in the center stage, so in the front, not in the back, and give it minus 1k for the turn. So if you guys didn't know, for Weiss, whenever you reduce anything's attack to zero, it dies. So basically, if your opponent has like a suicider or something dumb in the front row that like they bond or they do something crazy with it, but it has like 500 or like 1k attack, you can potentially just target it and it dies. Or you can just give something minus 1k so you can get over it. But really good effect, and it's a global booster. Really good card. And they're 3. So on to the level 1s. The first level run I will run is 4 of these 1-0 yellow errands. Pretty good card. Its ability is during your turn, this card gains 500 power for each of your corpse character. So essentially, if you have a field full of characters, you're getting a 2k boost, so you're at 6-5. Boosted globally with the levies in the back, you're at 7-5, climax 8-5, so you're pretty big. You can get rid of a bunch of stuff. The thing that kind of sucks is you only get the boost during your turn, but he does have damage encore, so it doesn't really matter. Your opponent gets big, kills them, you take a damage, restand him, and now it's your turn, so now he's huge. So 4 of him, really good. You know, during your turn he's a beater, and then during your opponent's turn you can like pay 1 or take a damage to bring him back. So 4 of him. The next card I run, and this is, oh, they flew away. Well, that's what they do. Is 4 of this 1-0 yellow Armin. Pretty good card. I also run 4 of the climax it has. It's a yellow climax. When you activate it, you can take 1 yellow card in your waiting room and put it into your stock, and you give all your characters 1 soul. So pretty good for building stock, and then you obviously get 1 soul. And then when you trigger it, you give 2 soul, you know, because of the corner thing, plus 2 soul. So this card's ability is you can pay 1 when this card attacks if a card named this. So besides the climax effect, it really doesn't have an effect, so it's kind of like a vanilla kind of thing. But if you do have the climax, that's where it starts getting all like cool and stuff. So you can pay 1 when you have this climax in your climax area. Until the end of your opponent's turn, this card gains 2k power, and it gains the ability at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase. You can choose one of your corpse characters and this card and exchange it. So basically it's like a protector kind of Armin thing. So if you have the levies boosting it behind it, it'll be a 6, and then with its ability you're seeing it go up to 8. So it's an 8 that can run around. Potentially you're trying to protect, like let's say you really don't want to pay encore for this Erin, and like your opponent doesn't have enough attack to kill this. You can potentially just move it when they're, you know, about to attack, when they put down their climax and they're ready to attack you, so you can just move them around. And that's when the Mikasa also comes in handy. If you just have her in the back, you can just give them like a 1k boost, and that's it. Or if you have, like, let's say you're attacking like with this and you have like a Mikasa on the side. Where is she? Like on the side, you can potentially just like protect her and like throw her out, and then get 1k. But pretty good card. It's usually just for protecting your level 1s if you get it, because now you're like pretty big. You're at 8, and then you're like swinging around all over the place. So really good card, fun too. Next card I run is 2 of these event punches. It's a level 1-0 event punch. It has the ability where when you drop it, you can search your deck for up to 1 corpse character, reveal it to your opponent, add it to hand, then discard a card, and then you can choose one of your corpse characters in battle and move it into an open position onto in your stage. So basically what potentially you're doing is when you drop this, you have the ability to search through your deck and add like one of the characters you're missing based on like what level you are, maybe a level 2 that you need, a level 0. If you're like, let's say you're at level 1 and you're missing like a booster, you can look for the level 0 one or the level 3 one if you want. Or if you're at level 1 and you're missing units, you can just search for level 1 and so forth. So it's a pretty good card, and then it allows you to discard a card, and you cycle out your hand, and then it allows you to move one of your characters on the field into an empty slot. So you're basically just playing like protect your characters at level 1, and at level or higher levels as well. You can like move around your characters so your opponent has to attack your highest attacking character, and then it'll be alive, and then during your turn you can make them bigger and stuff. So pretty good card. Move around your characters, protect them. That's basically what you do in this deck. You just run around and stuff. So 2 of those. And then the last card I run is just 2 of these 1/1 yellow Titans from the trial deck thing. It's 1/1, 6k. Its ability is if you have another character with either Mikasa or Arm in this card, gains 1,500 power. So as long as you have, Armin, this thing will be at a 6/5. It will be at 7/5. Boosted in the back, like 8/5, climax 9/5. So it's just the beater level 1. It's just there to beat down your opponents if they play something you can't get over with Armin or with the other Erin. So really good card, Titan-Erin. Just 2 though. Next card I run is 3 of this level 2 pay 1. Where is he? There you go. Armin. It has the ability, if the number of other corpse characters you have is 2 or more, this card gains 1k power. And when this card triggers checks climax, during that turn this card gains 4k power and 1 soul. So basically this card is really fun to use. It's a level 2 pay 1. If you have 2 or more, which as long as you have boosters in the back, you get the ability. So it's at 8/5, and then with the boosters it'd be at like 9/5, climax 10/5, and even at 10/5, if you trigger check a climax, you will be at like 14 and stuff, mauling down your opponents, and you get an extra soul. So your opponent, like even if they drop a punch sometimes, just by triggering a climax, you can get over your opponent. It's a really fun card. It's really fun, especially if you make your opponent like drop a punch and like you trigger a climax and then you can get over them. It's hilarious. So 3 of him. It's pretty cool. It gets you a benefit off like checking a climax. So 3 of him. Next thing I run is 3 of this level 2 pay 1 yellow Eren staring at his key. And I also run 4 of the climaxes for it. It's a tornado climax. When you trigger it, or bounce, or whatever you want to call it, when you trigger it, you can select 1 card on your opponent's field and send it back to his hand, and then when you play it, you can give your characters 1k 1 soul all. Basically what this character does is it climaxes with this. It doesn't really have any other effects. So when you have this tornado, when you play the tornado thing, you can pay 1. You put this card into memory, and then you choose this level 3 Titan thing, which I'll get into right now, from your hand, and play it onto the field, and basically that's it. So you play the climax, you banish this, and then you choose one of these from your hand and play it out onto the field. So you're potentially like changing into a level 3. Really good. And I'll go over the level 3 in a bit. I'll just go over this thing first, and then I'll explain how you do all that and stuff. So the last card I run for level 2 is 2 of the level 2 pay 1 Eren biting himself punch thing. It's an event punch. It's really, really good. It gives 4k to your corpse character that you're using it to boost, and if it manages to reverse that opponent's character, you gotta send it to memory. So basically you're giving something 4k punch, and if you end up killing it, you get to send it to memory. Really good punch, especially if your opponent has like some like staple card in his deck that like makes the whole deck go round, and you get rid of it, and like all their monsters become like garbage. So really good punch. Just 2 though. So like I was saying, I just played 2 of the Eren Titan level 3 that changes from this with the climax combo. So this card is really, really good. Its first ability is if you have this Eren in memory, which you will have if you play the climax. You can potentially, this card gains 1,500 power, and the ability when this card reverses an opponent's character, you send it to memory. Really good, because now you're seeing this Titan thing at 13-5 boosted 14-5, climax 15-5, and whenever it kills something, you can send it to memory. It's really good. Its second ability is when you play this card from your hand, you can search your deck for a corpse character, reveal it to your opponent, and add it to your hand. So, like, when you get the whole climax combo off, you get an additional search. So you get to search your deck for any corpse character, so you plus there. You can also play him from your hand, but you have to pay 3 because his cost is 3. But usually when you just get him through this, like, the whole combo is stupid. And its final abilities, you can pay 1 at the beginning of your, or you can, but I would advise you to pay 1. Because if you don't pay 1, basically, you have to send this to memory and then you bring him back. So you basically have to pay 1 to keep him alive. Which kind of sucks though, but if you really keep him alive, he's a beater. And then if your opponent ends up just killing him, and you still have this banished or in memory or whatever, if you play another one, he still gains the ability, and he's still buff, and he can wreck stuff down, so the combo's really good. Next card I run is 2 of the level 3 pay 2 Armin booster thing. It has the ability that this card cannot be chosen by your opponent's effect, so pretty good, because your opponent can't target this card for abilities, or whatever abilities they have. It also has the assist ability. It boosts all your corpse characters in front of this card by 2k power, and then the character in front of it can't get targeted by your opponent's abilities. So, like, let's just say you have like a field like this. So basically, this thing will get a 4k boost. So now it's at like 16k, and your opponent can't even target it with effects. So really good booster. And then its final effect is when it comes into play, you can look at the top X cards of your deck, and X is equal to the amount of corpse characters you have on the field, and then you can choose one and add it to your hand, and basically the rest of the cards you discard them. So essentially, if your field is full, you're seeing at like checking the top 5 cards of your deck, adding basically one corpse character from that, and then adding it to your hand, and then sending the rest to your waiting room. It helps you a lot if you're about to refresh too. It helps you refresh faster, and then it helps you get a character to your hand. So basically, like with this thing lets you search, and then this thing lets you look at the top 5 and basically get a card. Really good card. And then your opponent can target your stuff, so that they can have fun and stuff. So the next card I run is just, or the final card too, is just 2 of the level 3 pay 2 Armin. Pretty good card. Its ability is if your opponent has any character that's level 3 or higher, this card gains -1 level in your hand, so you can play him early. He also gains 500 for every corpse character you have, so if your field is full, you're seeing at a boost of 11-5, boosted 12-5, and if you have the Armin, even bigger, you just keep going up. And its final ability is, you can use this ability only once per turn, so if you play multiples, it wouldn't really help you. But basically, when he attacks, if your opponent cancels, you can make them burn 1. So this effect helps you late game, especially if you're trying to kill your opponent and they like keep canceling, or they're 1 damage from losing, and then they cancel, and then you're like, alright, burn 1. They can cancel the burn, but it's funny if they don't, because then they just like lose if they're at like 6 damage and stuff. So pretty good card to have. You know, it's a beater. You can burn your opponent. Really good. Titan-Erin. So yeah. So that's it for this deck profile. I'll bring you maybe a couple more of Attack on Titan, since I have a bunch of stuff for this. So like comment and subscribe and stuff, and like watch this video again if you're taking a dump and stuff. So that's it. So I'll see you guys later.